There you go. All right. Good morning. Welcome to, I was going to say Monday, but it's not Monday. It's Tuesday. It's Monday. We get to sleep in again. How was that?
Really good.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Slept till 9:30. It's very relaxing. Went out for a bike ride yesterday, but it was very windy. But still nice, beautiful. Good morning. Yeah. Anybody do anything fun on the weekend?
Nah,
Just quiet, chill. Avi? No, quiet. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, if nobody wants to brag to me about their weekend. So, where were we? On Friday we were talking about this guy, or specifically this guy's films, right? And so we said that during the 1980s and parts of the 1990s, this guy was everywhere, right? And he was Hollywood's kind of quintessential leading man. He was the star of all kinds of big films and film franchises. His films, well, how much did I say? Yeah, his films have made billions and billions of dollars, right? Which means that a lot of people have seen those films, right? Everybody has kind of watched them. And so the social messages that are in the films are important to pay attention to because, again, so many people have seen them, right? And sometimes over and over and over again, right? So we watched a video essay. We just had enough time, I think, to finish watching it on Friday, and I know I'm going to stretch your powers of remembrance and recollection here. But what are some of the things that we saw? Well, we saw scenes from 4 films, right? And so we saw the one with Star Wars, right, with Han Solo and Princess Leia. She's fixing something in the ship, whatever that is, and he kind of shows up and kisses her, right, after some back and forth exchange, right? We saw a scene from Indiana Jones, which is at the end where his blonde female companion is telling him that she's tired of hanging out with him. She's almost died a bunch of times. She's going home. She's out of here, right? There's the third one, which is he's having an argument with another blonde woman, but instead of having a fight, they begin to kiss. And then we saw a scene from the original Blade Runner, right, where we see that Harrison Ford's character he's kind of a policeman charged with hunting down androids, hunting down human-like robots, and we see him in an exchange with one of these androids, Rachel, right? So what did we see that was wrong with his behavior? Anna, do you remember something? Right? So that's the Star Wars clip, right? Yeah. So in the Star Wars clip, we saw Princess Leia indicate that she was not interested in him. What was it, 8 times? He counted them off for us. Yeah, she kind of refused him 8 times, and yet didn't really stop him. He still went in for the kiss, right? Adon, did you see it? Did you? No? Okay. Arena, what did you see or remember?
If the woman says yes or no, it means yes, and then 9 to the 1.
Yeah, there's that idea that women are, yeah, so they say no, but they really mean yes. And Arena, if I can put you on the spot for a second, not you, but women in general. Good morning. Women in general, why would a woman say no when she really means yes? Or why would she be expected to say no?
Obviously shy.
Obviously shy?
I think.
Okay, that might be one answer, right? So a woman might be shy, particularly if she has a strong crush on a guy, she might be a little shy. I would kind of think she would say yes rather than no, but okay, we can go with that. Avi, what do you think?
Playing hard to get.
Okay, what's that about? What's playing hard to get?
Like, she'll say no when she really means yes.
Right.
Just so the guy tries harder.
Okay, so the guy tries harder. Now, why would she want to make him try harder?
I don't know.
And keep in mind, we're just talking about culture and society here. We're not talking about our personal beliefs, so you can speak freely. Why would she want to make a guy try harder?
Just for fun.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
You girls are diabolical, you know? No. Okay. To our two women in the audience here, do you have some kind of knowledge of this playing hard to get thing? Do you know what we're talking about at all, or is this completely confusing and you've heard of it? Yeah, Anna, you've heard of it? Okay.
So I think you will understand because you have fiancés.
Because I what?
Because you have. your
Well,
fiancés.
this is interesting, right? This is a gender norms socialization issue, right? So women, let's just say, women are encouraged to play hard to get. Okay? Are men encouraged to play hard to get?
No.
No, why not? What if I want to make my fiance like work for it a little bit? You know, for fun. But it seems silly, right, to say that, but that is a bit of a difference, right? There's a difference in terms of how we socialize men and women, right? We socialize men not to play hard to get. We socialize them to kind of do the pursuing, right? To do the hunting, to, as the guy in the video said, to kind of be the predator, right? And the woman is the prey, right? The man is making the first move. The man is, doing the pursuing. He's on the hunt, right? And she is trying to be difficult to catch, right? And why would men be socialized to be the pursuer? Or are we? Are we socialized to be that? Are we socialized to make the first move? I think so. Right? I think so. Guys, have you ever been asked out by a woman? No? Yeah, it'll happen. But I think it's often up to us guys to do it, right? It's kind of seen as our responsibility. We're kind of the ones who are supposed to. And again, women are the ones who are supposed to chase, right? Or to be chased, or to try to be difficult to be caught, right? What do you think of that idea, though? Is that helpful, or is that just the way things work? Or is it not the way things should work? Come on, you guys. You guys are dating age. I'm off the market now, so I can't weigh in on any of this.
It's just the way things are.
Just the way things are?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you have any desire to maybe for things to change, or are you happy with the way things are?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you say both?
Because like it is always the man's duty to ask the girl out first.
Right?
But it'll be nice for a while to see a change. Like for the girl to ask the guy.
Okay, and why would that be nice?
It just saves time.
Well, it does save time, right?
Yeah.
Also, asking is tough, right? You gotta You gotta get your courage up. You're right. You gotta stick your neck out. You gotta put yourself out there and hopefully not be rejected, because rejection sucks, right? So yeah, there's that. It might be easier. Ladies, what do you think? Are you happy with? Would you be happy in a world where just men do the chasing and you do the choosing? Anna's okay. Anna, why are you okay with that? Definitely, right? It's definitely easier to have your food delivered than to go out and pick it up. That's true. That's true. Arena, what do you think? Do you have any ideas on this, or maybe change is good? Yeah. Is there, if we've established that we do have this kind of dynamic, right? We have this kind of, men doing the chasing, women are, the ones that are being caught or trying not to be caught. The author of the video essay is saying, there's something that can really cause problems with this idea about playing hard to get. And what's the problem he's pointing out, specifically in the movies here?
That maybe the guy won't understand. Maybe.
That he won't understand?
Yeah.
Won't understand what?
Like maybe when the girl is saying no, she's actually saying no.
Right.
Not that she's trying to play hard.
Right. That's a bit of a problem, right? If we have this societal belief or this societal norm that, oh, girls just play hard to get, right? Because they want to make the guy work for it, or they want the guy to value them more, or they just want to have some fun, or whatever it is. If we have that idea, then men don't take no seriously, do they? Because we saw that happen in Star Wars, right? She was like, no, don't touch me, I don't like you, you're a scoundrel, right? And he's like, yeah, that's okay, you like me because I'm a scoundrel, right? And he assumes that she's saying yes when she's saying no, right? And again, it's tricky because in the movie, it works, right? In the movie, he kisses her, and it's, the romantic music comes up, and, we, as the audience, we kind of know that she likes him. She hasn't really said anything to anyone or done anything, but we kind of know that she's into Han Solo, and who wouldn't be, right? He's a handsome, charismatic, dashing adventurer, right? But again, we as the audience know that, but in real life, he doesn't, right? In real life, he just keeps right on going, and he kisses her even though she kind of tells him to back off 8 different times, right? So that idea of women playing hard to get it's fine until it isn't, right? It's all kind of fun and games until it's not, right? Until that no is actually not the playing hard to get, until it's a real hard no. Right? What else do we see him doing badly? We said that he didn't take no for an answer. What else did he do? What about in the Blade Runner scene? Do you remember that one? He was? Yeah, he threatened violence, right? So they were sitting there, he kind of kissed her a little bit, she didn't really react to that, and she just got up and tried to leave, right? But then he went to the door and slammed it shut in front of her, right? And so that's a threat of violence, right? That's not like, oh no, wait, don't leave yet, I can explain. That's not what that was, right? That was bam, right? That's a threat of violence, right? Then what does he do?
Kiss her.
Yeah, he kind of corners her, he kisses her, and then Kind of, yeah. How does he do that? How does he manipulate her?
So she would give him consent.
She was what?
Give him consent, like he really wants.
Yeah, he was kind of forcing her to give consent to what was going on, right? He said, say, kiss me, right? So he's telling her, let me do what I want, right? And if she doesn't go along with it, there's that threat of violence, right? But again, that's seen as a problem, right? Because it's a sexual assault, is what that is. That's what you're seeing on the screen. But again, the romantic, soft music comes up, and it's like, oh, it's seduction, right? It's romantic. But again, in real life, that's not romance, right? That's sexual assault. That's a crime, is what's happening. But again, it's kind of framed differently, right? And so, how else does his characters behave badly? Do you remember anything else? Doesn't take no for an answer. Uses force to get what they want. There was four clips. So there's two from Indiana Jones. One, they're in like an Indian village, right? And the blonde girl goes to leave, and he uses his trusty whip and kind of whoosh, and pulls her back, right? How's that problematic? Cool move, right? But how is that a problem? He what?
He didn't let her go.
Yeah, he didn't let her go, right? He physically stopped her from leaving, right? So she said, I'm going home. I'm not going anywhere with you, Dr. Jones. I just about got killed 6 times, and she did. It was a harrowing 2 hours for her character, let me tell you. And she's like, I'm out of here, right? And what does he do? In real life, he wouldn't have a whip. In real life, he grabs her and pulls her back, right? And that's pretty bad too in real life, right? Here, it's not, right? Here, he uses a cool move with his whip, right? And she's kind of smiling, right? He kind of reels her in. She's smiling, and then they kiss, right? And again, it's that message that she was playing hard to get, right? She was angry. She was yelling at him, and she was like, I'm going home. But it was all drama, right? It was all fake. She was just playing hard to get, right? And again, that's a bit of a problem, because again, if she's not playing hard to get, then he's physically restraining her, right? He's keeping her from running away, because he thinks that no means keep trying, right? And it doesn't, right? In real life, it doesn't mean that. And then the last one was they're having an argument, right? There's this younger woman with long blonde hair. They're having an argument, and he kisses her, and she says, how dare you kiss me, right? But then what does she do? Yeah, then she just kisses him back, right? So again, you have this he kisses her, and then she's outraged, right? And then she's written to go along with it, right? To kiss him back. And we saw the same thing in that James Bond clip, right? From Spectre. Same thing, right? James Bond cornered that woman. I forget what her name is in the movie. Good morning. I forget what her name is, but he corners her and kisses her, right? And she's can't move. She's backed against the wall, right? And again, movie audiences are very used to seeing this as kind of sexy, or how seduction works, but it's really not, right? It's really not. It's kind of an issue, right? And so, yeah, what's wrong with his behavior? Well, you're correct, right? His characters don't listen to women's rejection of them. And again, It's not Harrison. Harrison's a lovely guy. Actually, he can be pretty difficult. He doesn't take a lot of BS, and so if he's in an interview and the interviewer is asking stupid questions, he'll be very difficult. But yeah, he doesn't listen to women's rejections, right? His characters ignore women's anger, right? If women are angry, it's like, oh, they're just being dramatic, right? He doesn't take it seriously. And then in Blade Runner, we saw coercion, right? We saw his character force Rachel's character to give him consent, right? And that kind of violates the idea of what consent is just in general, right? And I think we'll get to that in a second. So what messages does this send? Well, it sends the idea that, like Abby said, men are supposed to be the ones that pursue women, and women are the ones who say no, right? But no doesn't really mean no. No means you have to keep persisting, right? You have to keep trying. And again, we even heard that idea. I know these films are kind of dated, right? They're from the 80s, and I know none of you were even born then, so they're ancient history now. But even in The Big Bang Theory, we heard that, somebody asked Leonard, "Oh, Leonard, how did you wind up dating Penny?" He's like, "Oh, I just, wore her down like a river carves a canyon," right? He didn't take no for an answer, and she said no a lot of times to him, right? And so, again, the message is not quite so bold as in Harrison Ford movies, but the message is that no doesn't mean no, right? No means keep going, right? And again, in real life, it doesn't often work that way. No usually is no, and if you keep trying, you usually get a stronger no, right? Yeah, it sends the message that women actually don't know what they want, right? That men are the ones that know what they want, right? And in the Star Wars clip, we saw Han Solo's character act like that, right? It was like, oh, I know she wants me, even if she doesn't know, and I'll show her, right? I'll demonstrate to her that that's the case, and he kisses her, right? And again, that's not true, right? Women do know what they want. Again, we even see that message, and again, you may not have believed me when we talked about it, or you may not have agreed with me, but I think the romantic comedy is like that as well, right? Some of the romantic comedies where women start out with a great life, they don't really want to date right now, they're totally happy, but everyone tells them that they're wrong, right? And then they meet the guy, and they're like, I don't like this guy, he's a doofus, right? Or whatever, right? And so, but throughout the movie, she gets to like him, and then they wind up together at the end, right? And the idea is that women don't know what they want, right? They think their life is great. It's not. You just met this guy, you think he's a doofus. You're wrong, he's not, right? So women are kind of being given messages or men are being given messages that women don't know what they want, and that's even happening within their own movie, right? Within the romantic comedy where the female character is the lead, right? She's the main character. And again, we see that physical or verbal intimidation is acceptable during seduction, and it's not, right? There's no room for violence or intimidating someone there. And so, again, just as kind of a PSA, as a public safety announcement here, yeah, consent is important, right? You have to, if you're going to be doing romantic, sexy things with people, the other person has to consent, right? They have to be able to say yes. And even more importantly, and this is where the Blade Runner clip comes in, they have to be able to say, consent is what we should talk about this. Consent isn't just saying yes, okay? Consent is yes, but also that you have the ability to say no and nothing bad will happen to you. That's what consent is. It's not just yes, but it's no and nothing bad happens, right? And so Rachel, when she was in the room there with Rick Deckard from Blade Runner, She could have said no, but would something bad have happened to her if she did?
Yeah.
Seems like it would have, right? He was drunk, he was upset, he slammed that door in a very threatening fashion. We don't know what would have happened, right? Maybe it would have been fine. Maybe he would have beat her, right? We have no idea, right? But again, she wasn't in a position to say no and nothing bad happens, right? And that's often the issue when you see sexual assaults or relationships that happen maybe in the workplace or something like that, where there's a boss who's got power and then there's an employee who's got less, right? And so if they have a sexual relationship, the lines of consent are kind of blurry, right? Because if he's trying to, if he's making advances toward her and she says no, is it going to affect her career? Is it going to affect her job? Maybe, right? That's why consent, becomes a little fuzzy, right? If someone's really, really drunk, right, and they're almost passed out and they don't know what they're doing, can they give you consent? No, they don't know what they're doing, right? They're really drunk, right? So again, consent is the ability to say yes to something, but it's also the ability to say no, right? And nothing bad will happen. And again, in Blade Runner there, we see that Rachel's not really in the position to say no, right? She kind of goes along with it because she's afraid for her physical safety. And actually, she's probably afraid for her life, right? Remember, Rick Deckard's job is he's a Blade Runner, right? His job is to hunt down and kill androids, human robots who escape. And Rachel is a human robot who has escaped, right? He'd be perfectly justified in killing her, and he wouldn't go to jail for it, right, in the movie. So, should she fear for her life? Yeah, the state has actually said that he is allowed to kill her. He actually gets paid to kill her in the movie. So, yeah, she should be concerned, right? And so, can she consent to sexual activity with him? Not really, right? He has a lot of power over her, right? So, we'll come back to that idea a little bit later. But the idea here, of course, is that these three characters don't really care about what women want. They don't care about what women say. They just force themselves on women. But the problem is that the audience isn't offended by this or isn't upset because of the way that they're framed, right? So just like on The Big Bang Theory, those young guys are framed as good guys, right? And they are. They do a lot of creepy stuff. They say a lot of things that are sexist or misogynist. But if you watch the show, has anyone actually watched the show? Big Bang Theory? Even a little? No? If you watch it, you'll see that they're good guys, right? They're harmless. They wouldn't hurt anyone. They're nice, right? Even though they're quite odd. Right? And so we let them get away with it. And the same thing with Harrison Ford's characters. The movie frames him as the hero, right? He is the good guy, right? He is the good guy, and so we let him away with it, right? We see these problematic scenes with women, but then the romantic music comes up, and it's like, oh, it's seduction, it's romantic, right? But again, it's really not, right? You transplant these scenes into real life, and suddenly they're really, you're talking about harassment and sexual harassment and sexual assault is what you're seeing, right? So yeah, that's kind of why I want to pay attention to movies like this and any kind of media, because men are socialized to see this as desirable behavior, right? When young men are growing up and they're like, hey, what does it mean to be a real man? Well, the movies say that this is how you be a real man, right? And again, it works really well in the movies, right? It's very dramatic and exciting for audiences, but in real life, it's not that way, right? Things don't play out the same way. Because again, and this will blow our minds too, because we just had our minds blown that women talk about things other than men, which is like, who knew? Teasing. But also, women do know what they want, right? And when they say no, it usually means that it's a no, right? And again, if you keep pushing, you're going to get a harder no than that. But again, movies teach us something else, right? They show us something else. So, am I trying to ruin all movies for you? No. Although I've been accused of it before. But I'm not trying to ruin all movies for you. What I'm asking you to do is pay attention to what kind of social messages are in the media that you are watching, right? You can still enjoy them, because I was never a big Blade Runner fan, but I still like Star Wars, and I still like Indiana Jones, right? I still like those movies, but I also know that there's some problematic messages in them, right? But if I can identify them, then I don't have to play them out, right? But if I don't see them, if I don't see what I'm being taught, then I just kind of absorb it uncritically, right? And I kind of run the risk of, sort of behaving that way later on, right? So just try to pay attention to what these stories are telling you, right? About men, about women, about how men should be, about how women should be. Because, again, some of the things that we really take for granted, because we've seen them over and over again, are actually kind of a big problem in real life. But in movies, sometimes we don't notice. Now, what I'd like to do next is talk about sexism in music video, okay? So, there's lots of songs and music that are full of references to gender, right? How many songs are there about romance or dating or love or broken up relationships? Billions, probably, right? Billions and billions of songs about people that other people love or don't love anymore, or wish to love them, or whatever, right? There's tons and tons of them. So I would like to look at one song in particular. There's lots of rock and pop for the most part. There's lots of songs out there that have messages about men and women in them. We could dissect any number of songs in this room, but I've chosen this one. Okay, so you might remember this one. It's a few years old now. I think maybe like 2019. It was on the radio. Ariana Grande had kind of a big hit for her, I think. And what I would like to do is two things. I would like to look at the lyrics to the song and try to figure out what Ariana is telling us. Okay, what kind of social messages are kind of woven into the lyrics of the song. Okay, and then we'll watch the video and we'll look and we'll see, okay, well, what kind of messages do we see in the music video itself? And we'll try to compare those two things and see what we think. Okay, so what social messages are transmitted in this song? So here's some of the lyrics. I couldn't fit them all on one screen, but maybe what I'll ask you to do is just Google the lyrics for it yourself, and then you'll have them all in front of you, okay? So, let me see, 7 Rings lyrics. There we go. So, can I give you, I'm going to give you, how much time am I going to give you? I'm going to give you 6 minutes, okay? And what I would like you to do, there we go. What I would like you to do is take a minute or two, read through the lyrics, what kind of social messages do we see in this song, and then talk to the people around you and see if you can come up with some ideas together, okay? And then we'll share them as a group. Cool? Okay, let's do it. Whoops, Did the wrong thing there. There. So maybe two minutes left, so talk to each other, see what you think, okay? What social messages are hidden in this song? Right here? There you go. Okay. So before we start, any Ariana Grande fans in the audience? Anybody?
I mean, I love the song.
What's that?
I love this song.
You love the song? Okay. All right. Well, let's see what we can pull out of this song in terms of messaging. So, Mir, what's one thing you noticed that Ariana's trying to tell us here about herself, or about men and women, or about what's good or what's bad, or what's just one thing she's saying?
Repetition of I see it, I like it, I got it.
Right.
Meaning she's trying to imply that whatever she sees is mine.
Right.
She will.
Okay. Yeah. So there's the repetition of that. I like it. I see it. I like it. I want it. I got it. Right. So what is she trying to say about herself in that line?
She's so gracious. She can get everything she wants by her automatically as a bird.
Yeah. Right. She's got the cash. Right. She sees it. She likes it. She wants it. Bang. Right. It's not I see it, I like it, I want it, I wait for it to go on sale on Black Friday. No, not the way the song goes, right? She just buys it. So yeah, she's communicating something about her wealth, right? Her ability to just buy whatever she wants. Let's see, Chen, what's something that stands out to you? Or what a message that she's transmitting here?
It's more like showing that she is selfish.
That she's selfish? Okay, why do you say that?
Because the force. Like, I want it. I got it.
Yeah.
It's a strong tone showing that she really wanted it. Right?
Yeah.
Everything that she sees, own.
Yeah. In that way, it is a selfish song, right? It's about her getting every little last thing that she wants, right? So yeah, there's a little bit of maybe greed. Might greed be the word you're looking for? Yeah. Kind of. It's a little selfish, maybe a little greedy, right? Of course, not every song has to be about saving the planet or whatever it is, but still, this one's a little selfish, maybe a little greedy. Bosco, what do you think? What's the message here?
She'd rather spend money on a credit card than
She'd rather spend money on her friends than on...
on her ex-boyfriend.
Oh, okay. Anyone else see that too? A focus more on. Well, okay, let's stick with that. So yeah, she'd rather spend money on her girlfriends than on some dude, right? Some guy. Very true. Very true. What else? Anna, what do you think?
I think his friends were like, I don't need any kind of man because I'm not paying for it. So,
She-
it's done for myself.
She doesn't need a man? Okay. And what makes you say that?
I don't know, like, she was like so self-dependent in that sense. Like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Yeah. Arena?
I want to add,
Yeah.
maybe because she knows what she wants and needs.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. In contrast to the message we were just getting from the movies that women don't know what they want, Ariana Grande seems to know exactly what she wants, doesn't she? Yeah, she knows exactly what she wants. Yeah, and she doesn't need a man to provide it for her, right? She's got the money, she's independent. Maybe she's being a little selfish and greedy here, that's true. She's got her close friends, her girlfriends that she'll spend her money on, but she doesn't need a guy, right? Dawn, is there anything else that we've missed? There is a few more in here, I think, but
There's a line written like, my receipts be written like phone numbers. If you say money, then wrong number.
oh, okay.
I was saying like, the whole scenario gets like opposite. So, I guess she's not dependent on herself, on someone else.
Yeah, still not depending on some. And what does that mean? My receipts look like phone numbers.
Maybe someone else is paying for her or something.
Someone else is paying?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. I thought of it a different way.
Expensive.
Yeah, expensive things? Yeah, that's what I thought, because phone numbers have 7 digits. So if you've got a receipt that has 7 digits, wow, that's a lot of money, right? I think that's what she's saying. Maybe not, but yeah. So she's got lots of cash, right? She can buy this kind of stuff. Avi, is there anything else we're missing?
No, I think
Don't think so. There might be one more thing, but this is kind of a high. Or Arena, do you think?
Maybe she's telling that girls can do everything themselves and get everything.
Yeah, I guess it extends more to women in general, right? So she's saying that I'm independent. I can do what I want. I write my own songs. I write my own checks. I don't need a guy. And other women can be that too, right? So it's kind of a female empowerment song in a way. Would you say that? Is that fair? Maybe. Maybe the only other thing that we could add in there is the idea of capitalism, right? So this is not really a song about capitalism, but it is about wanting and buying, right? And maybe it's a little bit of like capitalism and retail therapy. Do you know what retail therapy is? Have you ever heard of that before? That's like when you feel bad or when you're sad, and so you go shopping and buy yourself something really nice, and then you feel better. Yeah, retail therapy. So I think there's a little bit of retail therapy in here too, right? She feels good about all the things that she can buy, right? So yeah, I think we've covered it, right? I think we've got the female empowerment, the money, maybe a bit of selfishness and greed, but also kind of capitalism and, the freedom of being able to buy all the things that you want. There's definitely a feeling of not needing a man for any of this, right? She doesn't need a guy to take care of her. She doesn't need a guy to pay for her things. And she's not really interested in a relationship either, right? She says, I'd rather be tied up with calls and not strings, right? So she doesn't want to be tied up in a relationship. She wants people calling her saying, Ariana, sing on my album, and I'll give you lots of money, right? That's what she's looking for, right? The business, the money. She's not looking for a relationship with some guy. Okay. Anything else? Anything else that's wrapped up in here that we missed? No? Okay. I think we covered it all. It's not a super complex song, but I think we've got what it is. So here's what we'll do. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll watch the video, and we'll do the same thing again. What messages do we see showing up in the video? Okay? So take a break, come back, and we'll do that. Okay, and we are back. So let's we've looked through the lyrics here. We've established that it's kind of a female empowerment, female dominance song. There's some strong elements of kind of capitalism and shopping and money, but Ariana is pretty clearly telling us that she's independent, she's rich, and she doesn't really need a man. She doesn't want to be in a relationship with a man, and she definitely doesn't need a man to buy her any things or take care of her. She can do all that herself, right? Is that a fair summary of this song so far? Fair summary? Okay. So, let's watch the video then. My question, of course, for you now is, what kind of messages are we seeing in the video? And are they the same, or are they Are they same messages or are there different messages? What-
There is no man in the group, so maybe it means that she.
So the fact that there is no men, right? So yeah, we had that message from the lyrics that she doesn't need men, and certainly, whoops, sorry, I'm gonna put this back on the screen. And certainly there are no men in the video, right? For sure. Okay. What else do you think? What are we seeing in this video? What is she telling us or trying to show us?
Everyone looks expensive.
Everything does look expensive, right? What kind of things do we see in the video that are expensive?
Everything.
Everything. Yes, everything, right? All of the fashion, the fur, the jewelry, the booze, right? All of it is. What's that?
Basically telling us that she's rich.
She's rich, right? There's lots of. Actually, if you want a fancy word for it, it's called conspicuous consumption, right? So when people are wearing something almost for the purpose of saying, look how expensive this is, and I'm really rich because I can afford to wear it, right? It's not so much about the fashion or the comfort or anything. It's like, I'm wearing this because it costs a lot of money, right? So when you see me wearing it, you know that I've got a lot of money, right? Lots of conspicuous consumption. What else is happening there? What other, Avi, what do you see?
Like everything is about girls
Okay.
and basically that you don't need a man
Yeah.
to get all your stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, something like
Okay. So definitely it's all about girls. There are no guys, right? The idea that they don't need men to get what they want or even to have a party and have a good time, right? You don't need a guy for that. What other kind of messages are there in here? What else is she telling us or showing us? Are there things in this video that are different from the lyrics? The message of the lyrics? Let me throw this at you. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Would you agree, or would you disagree, that there's a pretty reasonable dose of sexiness in this video? It's not the sexiest video out there, but is there a reasonable portion of it? Yeah, I think so, right? She's wearing that really tiny dress, right, with the cat ears and the whole thing, right? She's kind of crawling around on the kitchen island. Maybe she lost a contact lens, I don't know, but so there's that kind of thing, right? So there is a certain amount of sexiness going on here. Now, not that there's anything wrong with that, or maybe there is, but we can talk about it. But was there any sexiness in the lyrics? Was there any romantic, sexy stuff? Kind of not, right? Kind of not there. So I do think it's a little interesting that it shows up in the video when it's not really there in the lyrics. It's not a sexy song. It's not a romantic song. But the video does have elements of sexiness in it. And so who is that sexiness for, do you think?
for men.
Okay. So it's possible that she is looking sexy to attract the eyes of men. I know we're being we talked a lot about different genders and different sexualities. I know we're being very like gender binary here, men or women, and everyone's heterosexual, but let's just go with it for now. Right? So maybe she's trying to attract the eyes of male viewers, right? Who else might that sexiness be for? Females? Give me a little bit more there, Amir.
Inspire them to be rich.
Okay.
Be powerful.
Sure, right? That's part of her power is her beauty, right? And her sexuality is part of her power as well, right? She could be kind of empowering herself by expressing her sexuality, right? By showing the world how beautiful she is, right? So, yeah, there's a certain amount of physical attractiveness and sexiness happening here. She could be trying to attract male eyes, or she could just be trying to sort of use her sexuality to sell her video. Maybe that's an easier way to say it. Or she could be just expressing herself and empowering herself. Could be either of those things, but the tough question, the really tough question is, how do we know the difference? How do we know what she's doing? Is she doing this purely to, is this sex sells, right? Is she being sexy to sell her music and sell her video? Or is she expressing who Ariana Grande really is? How do we know the difference? This is a really tough question, but I think you guys are good for it. How could we tell the difference between someone who is using sexuality to sell something, or maybe we could even see her as being exploited, right? Maybe the record company is saying, "Hey, Ariana, wear this tiny little thing in your video because more guys will pay attention to your music if you do." How do we know the difference between that kind of sexual exploitation or sexual selling of sex and her just being her, right? Empowering herself, saying, I want to look great in this video. I want to look sexy. This is what I'm going to wear. This is me. How do we know the difference? Anna, what do you think? Are you having a thought? No?
Maybe it's something with lyrics.
Something with?
Lyrics.
Okay.
Because sexual abuse.
Yeah, that in part that's what makes it kind of tricky because there's no real sexuality in the lyrics. It's kind of hard to know what the sexuality is there for, right? Like if it was a song about, how she has a really big crush on this guy and she just wishes he would, notice her or ask her out or something. If it was that kind of song and she was dressed up all sexy, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. She's trying to attract him, right? She's trying to be noticed by him or something. So then it would be easier, right? But it's tough because the lyrics don't give us any clue as to why the sexuality is there, right? And so we're not sure what's going on, I don't think. What did we say about consent? What did we say that it was?
Saying no without
Yeah, being able to, so definitely consent is, you need somebody to say yes, but they need to be able to say no, and it needs to be safe, right? No bad things can happen if you say no, right? If you say no and bad stuff happens, that's not really, you're not really free to give your consent in that situation, right? But my question is, so Ariana is acting sexy in this video. is she able to not do that? So okay, because my question here is that this is not a romantic song, this is not a sexy song, and yet she's kind of being a little bit sexy anyway. So clearly the choice was made for her to act that way and dress that way, but can she say no to that? And you say she can say no?
Yeah.
Okay, why do you say that, Avi?
Because she has a choice. That's her song.
She has a choice, it's her song?
Yeah, the song itself is about like how girls can do everything whatever they want.
Right. And so okay, so that's kind of in alignment with the message of the song. What do others think? Can she choose to dress one way or the other? She can't? Why not?
I mean, I don't know, it's like how something wants to be perceived by the world.
Okay.
You know, like we can put her in a comparison.
Yeah.
with, I'm sure that K-pop singers, female singers,
Yeah.
they also dress with like little clothes and they also tiny and silly.
Right.
And then I don't know with Adele it was weird. Because there's no like you never seen Adele in a music video like
Yeah.
that, right?
Right.
So maybe it's how her discover who wants her to be perceived to be more like in a male gaze.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of men are fans of Adele or Taylor Swift.
Say that last sentence one more time.
Not a lot of men are fans of Adele or Taylor Swift.
Yeah. And what did you say just before that? You said
Because they're not for the male gaze.
they're not for the male gaze? Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So Anna's got two good points here. Number one, most artists they pay attention to their image, right? And sometimes their image, depending on who you are, sometimes you control your image. Sometimes it's your record company that says this is how we think we're going to market you, right? You're going to look like this, or this is who you're going to be in the public eye, right? And again, if you're a big, powerful, artist, you can do whatever you want. If you're a little less powerful, maybe you have to go along with what the record company says. But Anna, you use the term male gaze. What does that mean?
It's like women do stuff just to like serve.
Oh.
I don't know. They put on, if they dress up just
Yeah.
to go to shop and groceries.
Yeah.
Because they're finding men, but because they want to men look at them, and because they want to look hot.
Right. Right. Yeah, and so the idea there, and I think you've hit on a couple of elements of patriarchy too there, maybe. But yeah, the male gaze is the idea of whose eyes are you looking through? Okay? So when you're watching a movie or a music video, or whose gaze is represented? Whose eyes are you looking through? You've probably all seen it in a movie where, maybe the guys are sitting in a bar or something, and then like the girl walks in, right? The super good looking one, and the camera like starts at her feet and goes all the way up slowly, and then when it gets to her face, she's like shaking her hair in slow motion, and the wind is catching it even though they're inside and there's no wind, but there's still wind coming from somewhere. And you've seen that, right? Yeah, that's the male gaze right there, right? And so the question, of course, is if we watch this video, whose gaze are we seeing? Is this Ariana's dream or fantasy about what a house party looks like, or is it kind of a male's idea of what a house party looks like? Or is it both, which it might be? It's tough. It's tough to know, right? But Anna, I do like the point that you brought up, is that yeah, she may not have entire control over her image, right? She may she the her agent or her record company might really be encouraging her to present herself a certain way. But let me ask you this. Ariana Grande is pretty successful, is she not? Yeah, super successful, phenomenal singer, right? Like this song, she doesn't even break a sweat on this song, but she can sing, right? She's incredible. But if she decided, so she's being a little bit sexy here, and she's kind of sexy in other videos too, but what if she decided tomorrow, you know what, I don't want to portray myself that way anymore. I'm just going to, I'm going to wear kind of nice clothes, but normal ones, right? Not super sexy ones. And I'm just going to be more of a singer-songwriter, and I'm not going to sort of push my sexiness or my sexuality so much. If she made that decision tomorrow, do you think her career would stay the same? Would she sell as much music and as many records, do you think? Would it go up? Would it go down? I don't know. What do you think? Avi, I feel like you're having a thought, but
It will go down, definitely.
you think it would go down?
Okay.
A bit? Yeah? Why do you say that?
Because like there is a part where you only watch the video,
Yeah?
see what she's wearing or something like that.
Sure, right? She probably has a certain number of fans, not all of them, but a certain number of fans who are a lot of what they like about her is how she looks, right? And so if she wasn't dressing quite as sexy, maybe they wouldn't be quite as interested, right? Maybe they wouldn't pay so much attention to her. Maybe they wouldn't watch her videos. Maybe they wouldn't go to her shows, right? And I think she would still have a career. I mean, as I say, she's got a lot of talent. She's an incredible singer, right? So she'd probably be okay, but her career wouldn't really be the same, right? Her album sales might drop, right? If her album sales dropped, her record company might say, Ariana, you're not selling as much as you used to, so we can't pay you as much as we used to. Also, we can't give you as much money for your tour, right? We can't, instead of putting out $100 million for your world tour, I think all we can put out is, a tour of the US. That's kind of that's really all you're selling right now. So so her career would kind of maybe decline, right? And so I'll take you back to my other question is, can she say no to expressing herself this way?
Yeah.
She still can.
Yeah.
Are there consequences?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. Will something bad happen?
No.
Her career going, bleh, that's not bad?
It won't go through then.
Hard to know. Hard to know, right? Pop music is tough because pop music really, it's very fatty, right? Like things that are in right now are in because suddenly everyone is interested in them at the same time, right? But the less visible she is, the more she risks that nobody will care about her at all. Pop music is very, it's very up and down, right? It's a tricky business, right? To stay in the spotlight and to stay popular. And she's managed to do it, right? But it's difficult, right? People, even though she's incredibly talented, people could forget about her tomorrow if she stays out of the spotlight too long, right? And so I think that's an interesting question, right? If she's not in the position to really say no to portraying herself as sexy, is she kind of being exploited a little bit? I don't know if it's the record company or her agent or her fans or herself, but is she kind of being exploited, her sexuality, in order to sell records? Might there be a part of her that doesn't really want to dress that sexy? It's tough to know, right? It's tough to know. I think unless we actually could, go inside Ariana's head and figure out exactly what she's thinking and how she's feeling about things, it's really tough to know, right? But again, like consent, with consent you need to be able to say no and nothing bad happens to you. If you can't say no under those conditions, it's not really consent, right? You're not really able to give it. And so here, if her career is going to be damaged by her not being as sexy as she is now, is she free to choose? Or does she kind of have to go along with what people expect of her? Maybe. But also maybe this is exactly what she wants to do, right? We said that some, the bigger artists, the powerful ones, they get what they want, right? They're powerful enough to tell their record companies what they want to do, and the record companies go along with it. So maybe this is exactly what she wants. Maybe she is portraying herself exactly as she wants people to see her. Maybe she's expressing her sexuality and who Ariana Grande actually is. Can we know for sure which one it is? It's tough, right? But again, think about the idea that, she can say yes to a sexy image, right? But can she really say no and nothing bad happens? And if she can't, then we kind of have a climate of sexual exploitation, right? And we're not sure if we can apply that to Ariana or not. But are there other pop stars who maybe aren't as powerful as her, who maybe feel the need to even be more sexual just so people will notice them? Probably. Do male singers have to be this sexual? Do they have to wear like almost nothing? I know we have like Lil Nas X, but do male performers have to do that? No, why not? What if we really want to see The Weeknd in like underwear? Are we doomed to never see that? Avi's thinking, I don't need to see that. But we probably never will, right? Because there's a pretty strong double standard, right? And again, it's interesting to think about, is Ariana or are some pop stars being exploited, right? Is their sexuality and their bodies being exploited to sell music in a way that's not really happening for men? And it's interesting to think about why that is. Okay. I think that's enough deep thinking for today. Hopefully I haven't ruined pop music for you as well, but I'm not trying to do that. Okay, so I'll let you pack it up. Pack it up. Have a nice afternoon. Come back tomorrow and we will talk about I forget what's next. Something is next. Okay. Say again? Oh yeah.